a lot of correspondence going back, putting this together.
Right before, yes.
And I've looked at some stuff. Your site's really good. I hear you do it yourself. That's
yeah,
good.
Appreciate it. Yeah, you know, I think it's very important for people to do things themselves. And
a lot of the skills of filmmaking apply to web design. Do you think, or not?
I agree. You know, you got. I guess as a filmmaker, you got to kind of perfect things. So
I think what we should do now is introduce you. Okay.
Sure. That's fine.
Okay. Welcome very much to Conversation. Pleasure. Welcome to the program. Scott Goldberg, he's an independent filmmaker. He's made films. He's doing things. He's got a very interesting life. He's from Long Island, and he's here in New York City. And we're going to show a clip of a couple of his films. And Scott, welcome very much to Conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Great pleasure. My pleasure to welcome you to Manhattan Network. And I wonder if you could, I know you're a filmmaker, could you share a little of your background, born and raised, a little of your education, and then we'll wade into a discussion of the human condition and whatnot, and filmmaking.
Sure. I was born in Houston, Texas in 1982, in the summer of June. I don't remember anything about it since I was adopted, but I was, raised here in Glen Cove. I mean, it's not here, but in Glen Cove, Long Island, correct, which is in Nassau County for those who don't know. And basically, I was always into film. I think I've always been into horror films, and ever since college, ever since college ended, I was working on them until very recently when I started working on more politically themed films.
What was the family setting like? Was it encouraging of things political, things intellectual? What was the setting?
It was just normal family, middle class, suburban family.
Middle class, yeah. Professional?
Yeah, my dad's a hard worker, my mom's a hard worker, so
it
was nice. And my dad, he's a watch distributor here in New York City for G. Rublin, and I've always been interested in film and horror films, and unfortunately, when I started doing films, I was pigeonholed as a horror filmmaker, but I'm just trying to branch out and show people that I'm able to do more than just horror films.
Yeah, you were interested in film, right?
Of course.
Film and television, they blend in your mind?
Yeah, I actually took a course at camp when I was 13 years old. It was a television production class where, much like the studio is set up over here, I'd go behind camera or be in the room where, the control room and, just practice that stuff and learn about it.
At summer camp?
Yeah, very fond memories of that.
And that got you going, right?
Yeah.
Maybe? And that was when you were 13, did you say?
Yes, I was around 12 or 13.
About the time you were bar mitzvahed.
Yes, correct.
All right, that's good. Was that important to you? The
actually,
Jewish thing?
Yeah, I was bar mitzvah.
Did you do Hebrew school and that?
I did. Yes, I did.
Did you speak Hebrew?
I was the kind of guy who would draw in class and stuff.
You were,
really.
But
actually,
naughty.
Yeah, but I learned. I got a tutor, and she basically taught me how to read from the Torah.
Tell me something, if you can. When you're doing that Hebrew, is that ancient Hebrew or is that modern Hebrew, Ben Yehuda and so forth that you're learning, or do you know?
I don't know, because what my beliefs have been in the last 2 years is that you shouldn't really believe what a Bible or a Torah says. I was bar mitzvahed, of course, in Israel. I had my party here in New York and everything.
Good party?
Yeah, it was a good party.
Yeah, all right, good.
But I don't believe that anyone. I believe that someone should believe in their own God, themselves as their own God, and what they want to believe, and not what they were brought up to believe. Because I think that's the problem with today's society. You're brought up and to believe that what you see on TV is real.
And a lot of those beliefs clash.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, big time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I was raised Jewish. I still am Jewish, but I just don't.
So you go to shul and stuff, or?
Not anymore.
You don't do that, right? You're more secularly minded or developing.
Well, maybe in a few years, if I get more religious or anything. But right now, I'm just trying to focus on what's important. I don't think that religion, in that sense, is so important to me right now, because I have to focus on what I think is most important to me, which is,
filmmaking.
Yeah, filmmaking.
Yeah.
So.
How'd you get involved in the horror thing? Why horror? It could have been musicals. It could have been Busby Berkeley. It could have been Frank Sinatra. There was a lot of film, a lot of stuff. It could have been noir.
Yeah.
But why horror?
Always been into horror films.
Why? I know, but why? Where do you think it comes from?
Just like, the fantasy element of it. How, like, Jason Voorhees can just, like, basically, he's from Friday the 13th. He could just, like, chase people down with a machete and kill them. It was just, like, something I think a lot of people, if they were crazy enough to do it, would do. Sometimes you feel like you want to kill someone. A woman at the at the grocery counter, counting out her dimes and stuff and pennies and stuff. Sometimes you feel like you want to kill that person.
Because so?
Sometimes, we have the society nowadays where that's people are so impatient. with so
you
many
think you can
things.
get rid of that in society by putting it on a screen, maybe? Maybe it's a good way to deal with it?
I think it's possible because I had made my film United We Sleep because I had such a fear in nuclear war. And I got into, I was listening to Alex Jones and a couple of alternative.
He's heavy duty.
He is.
Yeah, and the guys that do that loose change and all that,
Yeah.
they really put together heavy duty, good documentaries.
You have to be ready for that stuff, I think.
That's very political, real oriented. That's not horror. Horror films are sort of in a sense like fiction, you know.
Sure.
It's like a fiction world.
Yeah.
Novels as opposed to nonfiction writing or something, right?
Someone had asked me, you know, if I could take any book and make it into a film, what would I do? You know, I was 13 years old at the time.
What book?
What book? It's called Goosebumps.
Goosebumps. I don't know Goosebumps.
It was a book by R.L. Stine, a whole series about these children, like horror themed books.
Yeah.
Like about ghosts and monster blood and, you know, like different types of things that I found very interesting. I think, you know, I remember when I was young, I was very much into the Halloween season.
Yeah.
So I think someone like that, I think I could really take my memories and what had happened back when I was a child and put it into a film. So I think that'd be an interesting thing to do.
Your childhood had to do with Halloween horror?
Yeah, I mean, you know, just...
It was a horror story, yeah.
Yeah.
Your childhood?
Yeah, very much so. I mean,
really?
Watching,
you thought
like,
your childhood was horror?
Oh, no.
Oh,
no,
not your real life. Right?
No.
Okay, I'm trying to get it straight.
My dad was a hard worker, you know, and he loved everyone, you know. He loved his family.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So.
Well, what's not to love, right?
Exactly.
Scott's, you know, it's really good. But you got interested in that, and then you went to school and you studied some film and everything.
Correct.
Right?
I studied school.
You went to high school there, I guess.
I did, yeah, of course.
And were you a student? Were you a serious student, or did you do hijinks in the back room?
Well, I wasn't like everyone else. I wouldn't sit in the cafeteria. I'd sit, you know, in like in another room and eat alone. You know, that's how it was in high school. You know, I guess I was kind of like an outcast. I didn't feel like I fit in any, you know, type of clique or group. I just wanted
feeling a little alienation.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, from your fellow human beings.
Yeah.
You weren't sociable and everything.
No, I was more into sports. Sports fanatic, horror films.
You were athletic, right?
I never made the basketball team. I tried out
Did you try?
I tried out every year except for the first year because I got a scar right there. I had done something stupid. I saw a board on the street and there was like a cut in the board and I just like an idiot, like a 14-year-old just threw it up and basically slit
the board?
Yeah.
From a board?
It was
bad
like
deep cut down to the bone like or
yeah.
something? Yeah, really? Yeah, that's serious stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those kind of things happen like that. But you were athletically inclined, but you weren't so good at it. Is that it?
I don't know if I was good enough, quite honestly. But see, that's the thing.
But you liked athletics.
I loved it.
Did you go out for the sports?
I loved basketball. I was a big Knicks fan.
Were you good at it?
I think I was.
Were you on the varsity? Did you get a letter?
No, I didn't get nothing.
You couldn't get a letter, but you wanted to be.
Yeah.
You were a wannabe athlete.
Of course.
But you weren't. Okay, I see. Okay, right.
Well, you know.
There's a lot of people like that. You think that's a source of frustration, no?
Yeah, I think it is. And
girls like guys that were athletes, right?
I think that's what it was. I just wanted.
Girls? I mean, it's none of my business.
Well, I think in high school, every guy wants to feel wanted. Every guy wants a girlfriend. So
I suppose so. Yeah.
I've had my share, I guess, but not many. But,
okay. Yeah. I knew that. But when so you got in high school? You got in the camp. You did the film.
Yes.
And then did you get a Bolex or something, or did you do film
no,
or do video, or was it there?
It was a lot. It was video strictly.
Yeah.
My friend Chris,
from the get-go. Yeah.
Yeah, my friend Chris Garitano.
Even in camp, it was video.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
My friend Chris Garitano had told me that first year of college, the first day, he got started on film. I didn't get started until the fourth year. That was the problem.
Fourth year of what?
Until I got to work like with an SR1 and those type of film cameras. You know, unfortunately, because they taught us about film.
Yeah.
It was more of an acting school and teaching school. You know, like for teachers and stuff. And they had
Wait, you're talking college now?
Yeah, college.
Yeah,
correct.
I see. You're talking college. The camp is behind you.
Oh, yeah,
and
camp,
you didn't follow it up from when you were 13, 14, 15. You weren't following up with a camera and doing some things.
Well, I was shooting with my mom's VHS camera. I was editing like Friday 13 films in the camera and stuff
like
that.
Yeah, in camera, right?
Yeah. So.
You didn't do anything like Slacker. Did you ever see? Did you like Slacker?
I never seen
Richard Linklater. You don't know? Slacker?
Oh, okay. Yes, I've seen his films. I've seen Suburbia, right? He did Suburbia.
I don't know. Yeah, he did Dazed and Confused and everything. But Slacker was the best, man. It was done. It was just almost seems handheld.
Yeah.
And it was just one thing going into another. It was just a stream of conscience with people. Yeah. It was beautifully done. It was sort of. It made you think it was just sort of being done of an afternoon.
Yeah.
You know, with the people, it just happened right and everything. that kind of thing.
See, that's art right there.
That is a part of art, a kind of art, yeah. It's like that's not all that thought out and
It's
everything.
nothing like mainstream movies that today are remakes. Or
No. Well, so your favorite movies are along what lines? I mean,
I love mostly horror films. My friend Chris has got me
horror
into
films. You would like to horror.
Yeah, like Carrie, Halloween, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Friday 13th,
See, I don't know any of these
Phantasm.
movies. I
Okay,
haven't seen any
but
of
like
them.
Taxi Driver, I'm into. I don't know if you know
Taxi Driver, yeah.
Alejandro Jodorowsky. He did a film called El Topo and the Holy Mountain.
Was that Italian? No, he wasn't Italian.
Spanish, I think.
Spanish,
But
okay,
his films were banned here, but now they
Really?
recently came out with a box set, so that's pretty cool.
They were banned because they were so horrible? Or?
No, because they were just different. You know, it was art. And that's why I
art.
think I want to do something like that, make art like that, you know, because I think we need to heal right now. We need to heal people. As cliche as it sounds, we need to heal people, you know.
Yeah.
That's the big problem right now is that there's so much crap that we see on TV, and we need to somehow make a difference. And
But there's a lot of good also, no? No.
You
weren't taken to documentary or something, or political stuff and everything.
What do
you
you
were
mean?
into the world of fantasy.
Of course, but then I recently
But
got
why,
into
of course?
documentaries.
Yeah, now you're moving over to a documentary. It's a different kind of thing. I saw once Norman Mailer on television. He said he thought the best way to illuminate what the real human condition is and so forth is through fiction. Rather than trying to be objectively dealing with the reality, to fictionalize, you know.
Well, I also think the problem is when people have a camera on them when you're doing the documentary, sometimes they're not always acting how they normally would act if there was no camera on there. So I think
Like
that is true
verite,
in a certain sense, you
Yeah.
know, how it's fiction, so maybe the director gets to direct it, and the actors are kind of like, I
Well,
don't want to say puppets, but you know.
you're enhancing the reality a little bit to make it interesting. Hitchcock one time said, Alfred Hitchcock said, movies is like life with the boring parts taken out.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if that
Basically,
makes, you know,
it does
that
make
kind of thing.
sense.
But it does, you're dealing with a different reality than the normal one. And then also sometimes people like roles. Why is there such interest in the part of people, do you think, to be in the movies or to be a star? Or acting. There's a huge amount, far more interest in that than there are places for that interest to find expression, it seems to me.
Yeah.
What do you think it is about wanting to have a role, an actor, wanting to have you deal with actors, right?
Yes, correct.
What do you think there is that thing that's going on?
I think they just love it, you know, they love it. It's an art. It's an art form.
It is an art form.
It is, but there's some people also who do it because, I mean, I think a lot of people like to, you know, make a reel and stuff and promote themselves. Sometimes they do it too much. I did it too much.
You did what too much?
Promoting.
Promoting yourself.
Promoting myself as a filmmaker.
In front of the promoting yourself in the society.
in a sense of, you know, not acting, but promoting as like a filmmaker, as a director.
Go out to the Chamber of Commerce or something?
Nah.
Or the American Legion and give a talk? No.
No, like a filmmaker type of director. But you know, so I think that was the main problem.
Yeah.
You know, and I think the best thing is to make art and have people come to you now.
Yeah,
you know?
right. To make art to what you're doing. That's what it is, and you could do it like that. That's really interesting. So you did that, and you went to college, and you went and studied it, and
Correct.
you did, and that's when you really got going and everything as far as the filmmaking, right?
Basically.
Where did you go?
Five Towns College.
Five Towns. That's out in Glen Cove.
Dix Hills, New York.
Near there, right, or
Yes.
something. And it was is that a course given to the arts or something, or what? I mean, is that a school?
Yeah,
I'm
no,
not familiar with it.
It's I graduated with a BFA in film video. It has like, you know,
Film
arts,
video.
acting, film video, teaching, you know,
Theater?
education. Yeah, theater as well.
Theater also, yeah.
So,
Like the School for the Performing Arts they used to have in New
basically.
York. I don't know if they have it. But it was there. And you were on the video film side more
Correct.
than the acting and that sort of
Correct.
thing.
I took some acting courses, voice and diction, acting,
appeal to
directing
you?
classes.
The method?
Well, you know, I was in.
Stanislavski?
Well, you know, we were more about Bertold Brecht. You know
Brecht,
him?
yeah.
Yeah, or how do you say it? Our teacher would say it that way. I don't know what's the correct pronunciation.
I always say Bertold Brecht.
Yeah.
Is that right? Why do you say Brecht?
Brecht?
Yeah, Brecht, I would say.
Brecht, yeah,
But
that's what I would think it would be.
I think it's
honestly.
up for grabs on how it's pronounced in different ways, yeah.
Is he still alive? Can we
no.
find out?
No, but he's very great. He was really great. And,
Okay.
you know, he's an inspiration to a whole lot of people.
Yeah, I would imagine.
I
But
got the Brecht Forum here in New York. Are you familiar with it?
No.
Really a great organization. It's over at West Beth. Do you know West Beth?
No.
That's an artist colony. That's an artist building on the west side of Greenwich Village, over near the river, Hudson River. It's all artists in there. And in the ground floor, they have a thing called Brecht Forum. They have really great stuff, but that's politically organized stuff.
Okay.
Mostly left-wingers.
Well, let me tell you something, Harold. You know, working and being a director and a filmmaker and being in these classes with all these actors, it was really weird because you got to work in these workshops one-on-one with these actors, you know, that were in all these theaters, in the theater and in these plays for school. So that was really weird working with all those people. And I'm not an actor, but I took the course because, you know, I thought, hey,
good to understand the actor.
Yeah, exactly. So
as
that's
a
why I took it.
director, Hitchcock thought actors were like animals or cows or something. He said, right?
Really?
Yeah, they were to be manipulated and that kind of thing. There's different. Film is a director's medium.
Yeah,
They
I think
set the thing there.
Yeah, I mean, as a director, producer,
and you're a director
writer.
Primarily. You think of yourself
Correct.
as a director. Yeah.
Filmmaker in general as well. You know, I like to shoot. I've helped my friend Chris out with some projects of his, shooting using camera. I write a lot. I promote. I send out emails every day, trying to meet up with people and interview them for my documentary. So
you got a documentary going now,
correct.
Right? You're doing work. You're doing documentary is different than doing a horror film or a fiction thing, right?
Most definitely, yes.
Yeah, writing. You don't write it. Do you write a documentary, or you just sort of let it happen in front of your camera?
Yeah, that you could do it. See, that's the thing.
Both, yeah.
There's so many types of ways you could do a documentary.
Yeah, right.
I don't think there's any specific right way, but I think as long as it feels right for the filmmaker, as long as the person who sees it, as long as there are people who understand it. Not everyone has to understand it,
right.
But as long as there's people who understand and see your vision, that's all that really matters, I think, especially when you're working with art, because a documentary is art, you know. We're not making any. Documentaries that we make aren't going to be played in theaters. I mean, you know, they can if they're really good, but it's my first documentary, so I don't expect anything other than, you know, just trying to get it out to as many people as I can because I want to make a change.
That was a 4-year course you took in college?
Correct, yes.
And it was in film and video,
Yep.
so you had a lot of experience there.
Yeah.
Did you get some work coming out of that? Did you get some a collection of films you created while you were there?
No,
what length
it was,
films? Were they 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
Yeah, somewhere 5, 13, 10. It really varied. You know, when I got out of college, I didn't really think that I was going to get a job. At first, right before my last semester, I was like, oh, you know, I got to make this film. It was a film called The Night They Came Back. It was a zombie film.
Right.
And I was like, yeah.
Okay.
I was like, I gotta make a film that will, you know, that I could, you know, maybe get like investors interested in. But I was just, you know, that's crazy thinking because I'm still making films right now and I don't have investors. That's been like for 2 years, a little over 2 years. But I think, you know, I'm working towards trying to make.
You've been at it 2 long years and Hollywood hasn't called yet?
No, I don't. Yeah, and that's another thing though.
Tell me.
I don't think Hollywood. I don't think you need to make films in Hollywood. I mean, New York, right here, you can make them right here.
Yeah,
you know, and you can make great art over here.
Yeah.
I think it's just because of how society, how you watch it on TV, how you see so much. You know, come to Hollywood, this is where it's all happening. I think.
Do you think great art and the market go together? Vincent van Gogh painted all those irises down in Arles, or was it iris? Sunflowers, I'd like there. And he had these paintings and everything, and they used one of them to block a window in a chicken coop.
Huh.
Because they said, what's that nonsense you're doing and everything? And it didn't have any meaning until you get $35 million at Sotheby's, you know?
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? So art, he only sold one, he couldn't sell but one painting all of his life.
Wow.
He painted these great things, and it was ahead of his time or something. It was Cubism, too, and things like that. They're ahead of their time. So the art and the commercial success are almost mutually exclusive, or do you think art will out and be found to have a commercial representation in the real world?
I think
real art, avant-garde art. Let's just put it way out on the edge, avant-garde.
Well, I think the first thing is to take back the media. You know,
take back the media.
Yes,
okay,
correct.
Talk
you know,
about
with all these big networks and, you know, how they want how they program what they want you to see. I think because of the internet, which could be taken down any time by the government. You know, because they want to regulate it, they want to take away our rights.
That's interesting. That's getting over into your documentary.
Yes,
now.
correct.
Right, okay, but you've been in the horror film thing, making art.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And I think you know, by taking back, by getting people, by doing radio podcasts, radio shows, you know, shows like you've been doing for 35 plus years.
So long you wouldn't
course.
know. It's a long, long trail winding up Mount Sisyphus, my friend. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
But so yeah, just taking back the media, I think, is the most important thing to do right now.
Abby Hoffman used to talk like that.
Really?
Abby Hoffman, steal this book. Is that a thing you guys remember?
I don't remember.
Abby Hoffman, you know Abby Hoffman?
No.
He was a great and wonderful guy.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a troublemaker.
Okay.
Yeah, they used to go, when the Vietnam thing was raging and everybody was upset with that and the government was still bombing and all that, they went down, they were like funny though, the Fugs, and they went down to the Pentagon and they all held hands and surrounded the Pentagon. They tried to levitate the Pentagon off the ground, you know, as a kind of comic thing. Now you got satire. You got Stewart, Jon Stewart, and Colbert, and the Comedy Channel and stuff. A lot of people go there in order to get some idea of what the reality is about politically, don't they? Your generation.
I think
you
that's,
watch the nightly news now religiously and everything. They don't. They watch the Comedy Channel.
I really don't watch TV.
You don't watch TV at all.
I like to check out alternative websites on the web.
Okay.
Things like rawstory.com.
What's that? Is a site or?
Yeah, it's like, you know, it's all more alternative news rather than, you know, let's say like, you know, what mainstream news would be. Because I think I'm not sure if you know, you probably do know, is that all these corporations are intertwined with each other.
Yes,
you know,
I kind of got that.
There you go.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
with the big business and everything. So why would I want to, you know, pay attention to that stuff? I mean, it's good to see it and watch it and know what's going on and what they're saying. But I think to listen to it is, I don't know. You know, there's so much fear mongering on the news, and that's basically what United We Sleep is about. Is about the news media.
Yeah,
fear mongering.
That's one of the clips we're going to show a little piece
correct.
of. Yeah, that's one of the films you made. How many films have you made?
I don't, you know, I've lost count. There's like maybe maybe like 8 short. I can't count at the top of my head. Maybe 8 short films, and I'm working on my first feature right now.
Yeah.
I was starting.
You've made 8 short films.
Correct.
And when you say short film, 10 minutes?
So, like one's like 2.5, one's like 7, one's 23 minutes, which is the day they came back. It was my zombie film that I did after when I came out of college. But you know, like they're all different lengths, and what I'm hoping to do is compile them onto a DVD and hopefully, you know, get it out to people, you know, like a compilation.
Is that hard to do? I
think it is hard to do,
you could
but
put them all on the DVD. They're not very long. Could they all go on the DVD and everything? You want to do that?
Yeah.
You haven't thought to put them up on YouTube or something?
I have. Yeah, everyone can watch. They're up on YouTube as well.
They are.
Yeah.
I think
and
we're going to let people know about the site where they can go and they can visit it. So all of your work is up on YouTube.
Correct.
Now?
It's on the internet. I'm also trying to branch out. You know, not just YouTube, but other websites, because I think YouTube is getting corrupt now. Especially,
you do. Talk to that, please. That's a big issue.
Yeah, I mean, Google, you know, buying it out, they're a big corporation. I mean, they basically store all the information that people search on the web, you know, and I mean, I think the Internet's a very scary place as well, because they have all your information, all the emails, you know, they can, you know, it's saved, I think, in this big database. I mean, that's what I read. I'm not an expert on it.
Yeah, great database in the sky. Yeah, it's a two-edged sword in certain sense, because I guess you probably do y'all read things like 1984 and Brave
I've heard about
1984.
1984. You know, I have not read it though, but I've heard that our society is going more towards that right now.
Well, that's been a thing. Everybody used to read that kind of stuff, and then they did it, and so it's a question of whether or not you have faith in the system, as it were, and everything like that. And whether you do or not, you seem to be a little bit worried about it, but it's still also a blessing in a way. It's great that the Internet exists. I find it like some miracle that it exists.
But here's the problem.
You don't remember Whiteout. You're too young to remember Whiteout?
No.
You don't know Whiteout?
No.
Whiteout was the thing, young man, that you would go and you're going to write a letter, okay? Or you're going to do something, you're writing, and let's suppose it's a letter that's kind of important or something like you're writing and everything. And you go and you get the page. It takes a long time to type a whole page. It does. Takes a long time. And you go, and then you made a mistake.
Oh, well, I know what you're talking. I know Whiteout. Okay, I think you meant different. Yeah.
Or you'd have to retype the whole paper again and everything, because there was no, you know what I mean, processing, word processing. So there's a lot of advances and things, don't you think, in that?
I used Whiteout.
And there was no video. I can remember before there was any video for an individual.
Yeah.
There was a Peter Goldberg invented videotape. There was no videotape.
Really?
Yeah, there was no videotape. They used to put it on kinescope. The early television programs that came, they had to be put on a thing called kinescope. And then he invented videotape, and then there came a thing called the Portapack.
Huh.
Do you remember a Portapack?
No.
You don't. You should. This is part of the background. It was a thing that all came from Japan. And it was a big machine you get like this, and you could reel to reel, and you put a reel, and you put a tape, and then you could go with an extra camera, black and white. Everything was black and white only. Okay. And you could make a 20-minute program on a reel-to-reel tape like that. It was called a Portapack. An individual could make television. Before that, nobody could. It was all big Ampex machines. Only professionals could do it. You know? So now everybody's got it on their cell phone or something.
That's true. I know. And getting back to
that's good, no?
Yeah, I think it is in certain aspects. But then you got to understand, like with the internet as well. I mean, cell phones. Let's say, for example, like
they're everywhere.
Who knows where those pictures go to?
Yeah.
You know, the pictures you take and stuff. I mean, who knows if that's not stored somewhere else? You know, especially because it's done by satellite, I believe, right, or some kind of system.
Well, basically. I guess so, yeah.
But
and you've always got Echelon. They're monitoring every email and everything you got down in Langley, I think, you know. So they're just keeping. That's what they call Big Brother.
Yep.
They had Big Brother is watching you, and there's all those threats of a totalitarian society, and that's kind of feeling to be very real to a lot of people.
I agree. Well, and also getting back to the internet, what we're talking about with YouTube, I mean, with just the internet in general, is that I think that one day the internet's going to be taken away from us, and then we're not going to remember, at least my generation's not going to remember, or the generation before, they're not going to remember what it's like to not use the internet, to live. Because now you see kids on the computers all the time, you know, and the computer's like, I could see it as a good and a bad thing, but the computer's like, it's basically the new parent. When I was young, we used to go outside all the time, you know, and play.
Go out and just play?
Yeah, basically until the sun came down. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, in the summertime, like Slip and Slide, they had this thing, or Crocodile Mile. You know, I remember when I was young.
Kick the can? You're too young to remember Kick the Can. You don't remember Kick the Can?
My dad's
generation.
He told me about all that
Kick
stuff.
the Can?
Yeah.
You remember Kick the Can? Okay, yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, it's in the movies. They have it in the movies. Stickball.
Okay. Wasn't that in Twilight Zone, I think?
No, Twilight Zone was a different breed of cat. I'm talking about the reality, right? That kind of thing. Yeah, well, this is just a thing. Probably people have been talking like this since Cro-Magnon caves about the way it was 10 years. But now everything's getting telescoped so fast. The changes are coming. It's all technology is changing so fast.
Of course.
Are you optimistic for the human prospect?
Yes and no. I think because of technology, I think that's going to be our downfall. And then
you think technology is our downfall?
I think because the way it's heading with all these like robots and stuff like that. I mean, I'd be pretty much against it because you have all these robots, and then soon enough we're not going to be able to stop them. It's kind of like Terminator 2 in a way, the film, like where the machines take over. I think that's very possible because there could be like a, like in Terminator 2 is basically this this company called Skynet, and they basically like made these machines and basically it was made to kill people. And I can see someone as a government, if they were corrupt enough, which we have many signs.
Hard to imagine, is it? Yeah, right.
that they do such a thing like that.
So I keep power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
they had it on television the other day about robot soldiers.
Exactly.
But would it be good if you're going to have robot soldiers to have the robot soldiers fight rather than kill human beings?
But they're going to use it against us.
You just put them out on a chessboard and they could fight.
But they're going to. But how do you know if something goes wrong?
Well, that is the thing. Are you aware of Ray Kurzweil?
No.
You want to be, perhaps. Yeah, he's really good about the implications of cyber development and that kind of. A lot of people are nervous about that kind of thing because it's going to overwhelm. And most of the films, you don't see any films about how maybe that's a good thing. Mostly those films about the computers and so forth are things where, like Terminator, where it's a very alienated thing against the human condition.
Well, here's the interesting thing about.
But it could be liberating, maybe.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing about September 11th, when people saw that, they were like, it was like seeing it from a movie.
Yeah.
Movies are getting us prepared for that kind of stuff. When like nuclear war, you have 24 talking about like a nuclear explosion, all this stuff. I think it's very imminent in our future, quite honestly. A suitcase bomb or something, or some kind of suitcase nuke going off somewhere.
Yeah.
Because it's all these scenarios are being played out in these films. So when you see it, it's like you kind of it looked like it was from a movie.
Yeah.
Because that's what's in films, big explosions and all these things.
Life imitating art.
Exactly.
Because the movies are art.
Of course.
And they're putting a metaphor or something out.
I don't think so much mainstream is art. I think because the producer's looking over your shoulder, there's so much
money,
into that. Yeah, exactly.
Money, yeah.
They want to make
it's
sure
like
that
Van Gogh couldn't sell a painting.
Yeah.
They could sell all those kind of things that were bad because they're behind the times in terms of the art kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, listen. So you brought in a tape, right?
Correct.
You brought in a little. I think we have it, and maybe you could, as they say, set it up.
Sure.
Okay. And because you got two clips, and it's got a couple of seconds, a few seconds of space between the two. But you got two tapes. Maybe you could talk to the films, and then we can run them. I guess it goes about 3 or 4 minutes or 5 minutes.
Yeah, about 5 minutes. Yeah,
5 minutes.
The first one's called United We Sleep. It's a scene from my film United We Sleep. Basically, it's about a nuclear attack, not a nuclear attack, a terrorist attack, chemical terrorist attack that plagues Long Island, New York, and the surrounding areas, and a family that's trying to figure out, what to do, and the media saying that it was done by, another country, when in reality it was done by our own country, a false flag attack. And so I was very much.
Did you have that built into the script then? You were the thing. What do you call it? United We Sleep.
Yes, United We Sleep.
You had that theme about having been a false flag thing. That's
yes.
getting political.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
At the
yeah.
time, I was scared about
You
that.
don't have any of your zombie film or anything now
No,
with
no,
us
no.
today. Okay.
No, and then I also have Dying for Change, about like I think about
That's about
3
Luke,
minutes.
right?
Yeah, Luke Rakowski.
Yeah,
and
Luke was been here. We did programs with him a couple weeks
I've been
ago.
following them as well, and it's been interesting to say the
That's
least.
definitely getting Heavy Duty Jones, Heavy Duty Jones political reality, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Basically.
you're moving, or you're investigating that.
Yeah.
Coming out of a love of horror and fiction, in a sense, and looking at documentary reality, political reality.
Correct.
And so on.
And even environmental, animal rights, all types of organizations that are just trying to make a change for the better.
Saw a thing on the front page of the New York Times where, the animal rights thing, the way they treat the animals in those factory farms is absolutely unconscionable.
I know.
Do you know? Have you ever been to one of those places?
I've seen videos. I think
horrible.
I'm actually wanting to go to a farm sanctuary.
Go seize that. But they had the thing. They're going to let the chickens. They're in cages and they cannot move.
I know, and they peck at each other, and then they get diseased.
Horror. You want a horror film? Go. or the way they treat the hogs and stuff in pens.
Slam them against the hard concrete so the legs are broken.
I mean, the animals should be walking around in the meadow or something.
Of course, but see, then people use the excuse of, well, if we didn't eat them, then there'd be too many animals and stuff, and they'd eat us or something. I'm just like, think about this. Why do we have to kill an animal and skin it to eat it? I'd like to see someone go and bite into a cow and try to eat it as its natural form. You can't, because, I guess one can say with incisors, people say, well, I got canine teeth, so that means I'm a carnivore.
Yeah.
If you look at it, it's not as sharp as like a tiger's or a lion's. They got incisors.
Most of our
tears in.
We've been here 200,000 years on this planet as a species. You agree with that, or do you know? We're all out of Africa 200,000 years ago. And most of our tenure on Earth, we were running away from leopards because we were prey.
Yeah.
Barbara Ehrenreich, do you know her? She's a writer, writes the Nation, really a good writer. She wrote a book called Blood Rights about human sacrifice. But she's political and everything. But she said they had these people or skeletons and stuff in Africa, and they thought they were experimenting with brain surgery or something. But they found that the holes that were in their skull, in these, fossils, not fossils, but, remains, and what they were, they just fit exactly the eye teeth of the leopard.
No.
Because we were very, very vulnerable. Most of our life, it's hard for us to think because we're such a superior top of the food chain gang here now. But we were, for most of the time, we were prey.
Yeah.
200,000 years is a long time.
I agree. I can't even fathom that.
I mean, civilization's only been about, what, 10 years, 10,000 or so? When they first got agriculture and all that?
Probably, yeah.
But we were. But the thing about the animals is that what I'm getting at, that would be a great thing to do, a documentary.
Yeah. I'm looking to cover everything.
Bring a change on that thing. Oh, in the New York Times, there was a thing about how it's happening in this country where they're going to let the chickens out. They were saying that there's a big movement among the people, coming from the people, to let the chickens be roaming around rather than in those horrendous conditions they were in. And I said, hallelujah, that's a good sign, you know. But anyway, maybe you could foster something like that. But we were setting up your film.
Yes, right, yes.
Yeah, and the first one is about this film called United We Sleep.
Correct.
United We Sleep against the threats that are there, or this bomb.
I think we're sleeping. The title is basically we're asleep to television basically, and just watching all this garbage in front of us. You got Paris Hilton, like I said, Britney Spears, and K-Fed, and just all these people that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Celebrity.
What matters is how we're going to war with Iran, and what's going on in Iraq, and the real toll.
Why do you think there's such interest in celebrities?
I think it's everyone wants to be famous. Everyone wants
to be famous. Yeah.
So I think they see other people and they're like, oh wow, I wish that I could be on TV. So
you think
people
everybody
could see
wants
me,
to be
look
famous?
At me.
You think it's part of human nature to want to be famous and separate yourself from the mass?
Well, we're animals.
Did you feel that way when you were in the lunchroom while eating your peanut butter sandwich all by yourself?
I was just, I just do my own thing.
Or you were more alienated?
I feel more alienated when I was in high school.
Yeah, artistic alienation, that kind of thing, and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, and then anyway, on your film clip, you got another film, right?
Yes, Dying for Change.
Dying for Change. That's got Luke and so forth.
Yes, it's about organizations looking to make a change for the
and
better.
we ought to alert the people. We're going to set them running now, which is a little bit of your film. And then this is it, first time on public access television in Manhattan. We're happy to be able to put your work out, and welcome very much to it and everything. It's really interesting. And if we could set that up, and there's a little piece of black between the two, goes for a couple, 3 seconds. Don't let that throw you. So let's set that up and run it now. We're talking with Scott Goldberg, independent filmmaker. So let's run that piece of tape now then, please. Thank you. I hope they've got it going. Now what are we going to do, Scott? When you say, take it away, take it away. And we're waiting for the tape to come up. So we ought to talk about something. And we're watching the screen and we're waiting for the tape.
Yeah.
And maybe you could let us know. There we go. Okay.
Prelude to the crisis in the Middle East. GWB News Time is now 9:42 a.m. In the district of Nassau County, Long Island, 13 unexplained deaths have occurred. Doctors at the Long Island Jewish Medical Center have not yet found the cause of the deaths.
Did you both do your homework?
And to the ear.
It's freezing outside. What are you both up for today?
I don't know, probably skating with Matt. I'm going Christmas shot and Vicky later.
How's your asthma holding up?
Making sure that the tape works.
Okay.
Stay here.
Dad?
I'm in the nose.
Here's Don.
I'll tell you one thing, I'm about to right now double up my research, okay? I'm about to go home and look at everything I can about Obama and Edwards because, to be 100% honest with you, I'm not that educated on the candidates themselves and their background, those two. I just know that their voting record and their position on the war and what they didn't read, what they did read, it's all inconsistent. And so that to me makes it sound to me like they're a politician and they're not a patriot.
And he is our president of the AFL-CIO, John Sweeney.
Joe Biden anywhere around here, guys? Joe Biden, Senator? You guys don't know? Do you guys know? Joe Biden? Huh? Is he around here? We'll ask him some questions.
245 is going to be here, Luke.
He's going to be around there?
245, Luke. 245.
Remember your Pakistan connection, ISI? How did you know the ISI was helping the Taliban, sir? How did you know that was about? Yeah, I gotta check this out first. No, this is He said it's classified. Well, he did meet with the head of Pakistani ISI.
The guy's admitting to treason. It's ridiculous at this point, isn't it? This is the second time he's admitted to treason. On videotape. I don't understand him.
We mean that 9/11 was done for war in Iraq, war in Afghanistan, a Patriot Act, a military commissions act to destroy an American Constitution, and to allow President Bush to do and say what he wants. 9/11, there's a lot of unanswered questions that were asked by the victims' family members right after 9/11 that were never answered. The 9/11 Commission report, which was supposed to investigate 9/11, was never even set up properly, never answered any of the questions the victims' family members had. It can't explain what happened, how the buildings collapsed, what happened to Building 7. So many questions that it makes people understand that they're covering something up, that it was an inside job, and they won't answer these questions. And it makes sense. You know, they do 9/11, they have an excuse to go into Iraq, Afghanistan, set up a Patriot Act here, get rid of the Constitution, get rid of the Bill of Rights, and to destroy American freedoms. I don't know your personal beliefs on that, but you have to do your own research on it.
I think I'll end up going back to the other providers so we can simulcast to some other networks and get some other traffic.
Read what that says.
It's the website.
Okay, so that's it. Two different things, right?
Yeah.
The one was the so it's a different thing, right? It's a different context of that.
Correct.
How do you like doing the documentary stuff?
I love it, but it's very stressful at the same time.
Stressful.
You know,
Talk why.
Trying to get meetings together, find organizations who are looking to make a change and decide if they're the right organizations that are right for this project.
You have to sort out who's right and wrong, right? Or who's
Well,
right.
I also want to get like, pro-war, activists, like who are very Republican, or, I don't think pro-war necessarily means Republican. It could mean Democrat as well, but I think there's a little less of a Democrat side to being pro-war. But getting them and kind of like balancing it out just a little bit, not like a big segment on them, just like, their thoughts. Because I think if you put something totally about everyone, anti-this, anti-war, anti-gun, anti-this, I don't think, you need to also add a little bit of the other side as well, but not a lot. Majority is like 95% is about positive change. And the other 5% is about like, what the other side feels about it. So
of the documentary, the way you conceive it. Do you have a conceit already in your mind, the way you want to see it go?
Well,
how long you want it to be?
Yeah,
what do you want
it's going to be a full feature.
Full feature?
Yeah, 90 minutes.
How much footage do you have so far?
About 17 minutes.
17
edited,
minutes.
But I'm always editing, always shooting.
And of the 17 minutes you have edited, how many? There's a ratio or something. How much tape do you have that you've edited down to 17 minutes?
I have about.
Would you guess about in time?
Maybe like 25 tapes.
25 tapes. A tape is 2 hours. Or
1 hour.
1 hour. 25 hours.
Yep.
Down to 17 minutes.
Correct.
Okay, that's a pretty high ratio.
Yeah.
You cut out a lot.
Yeah.
Or is that stuff that's still available? Have you got that all logged and everything?
How do you work?
Do you log it?
I log it, and then like the day I shoot it and stuff, if I'm not too tired, because sometimes I work all morning to day to evening, and by the time I get home, sit at my computer, it's kind of like it comes over you.
When you say you
get
work,
tired,
when you say you work, do you have a job other than this filmmaking?
I do videography.
Videography professionally, like
yes.
weddings or something,
or
something like that.
shoot for video in general for people if they're Craigslist if they're looking for.
And that's what you mean when you say you work.
Yes.
You don't mean working on this.
No, 9 to 5. I don't do like 9 to 5 job as cashier or anything like that.
No, you don't have to do a cashier.
At least not yet.
Pesky business having to do 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Would you like it if you didn't have to do that ever and you could just devote all your life to making films?
I love to travel and just make art.
Just make art and make films all the time and everything like that.
And get paid for it, because you got to make a living.
What would you like if you do it and you get paid for it? Would that feel better to you if you're getting paid in return for what you do, or if you had enough to where you didn't have to think about being paid for everything, but you had the ability to do whatever it is you wanted to do, but you're not getting paid for it. You just can do what you want to do and put it out there.
I think the second
is the
one.
Payback of the money better an important thing?
With Dime for Change, and I'm putting an investment in.
Yeah.
About like by the time I'm done, I would think about $15,000. It's just me self-producing, shooting, editing. It's a one-person team. So I'd like to at least make a little something back, self-distribution or something over the internet or something, just to make my money back, because I'm going broke on this,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm putting all my efforts and time into this type of film.
Yeah, but that's the reality. I was asking you about the two. I mean, whether or not the payback, or I guess maybe I'm just going wild afield here or something like that. But the thing is, if you make art and then suppose there's a tree, if the tree falls and nobody hears it, did it ever fall? That kind of, the feedback.
Yeah.
The feedback. You were talking about people want to be famous, people want to be recognized or something. That's legitimate. That's a legitimate thing and so forth like that. If you got a real good piece of work, you would like people to be able to see it.
Of course. I know. And I think...
now, you put it up on YouTube?
I'm going to put it up on a bunch of websites, I mean, not just YouTube, all different types of websites. So there's more, because, there's some people who still don't go to YouTube, and some people who go to Google Video, or some people who don't go to...
Google Video and YouTube are together now.
Are they really?
Well, if you do it, they have the video tab because they bought YouTube,
That's true.
But you have Blip and you have other systems.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, what about help me out here, because you're young and you understand things cyber.
Yes.
I don't, you understand.
Sure.
I don't know. It's just like some black, I don't understand. But you go and you get a film. Let's say this program, it's going to be up on YouTube, because I can learn how to do the thing. A young fella showed me how to do it, so I can do it. Cool. And I can do it by just being very push button A, push button, and so on. But I mean, you get it's about somewhere between 15 and 20 gigabytes for a 1 hour program that comes up on the computer, AVI file on a computer. So then you have to reduce it down to 100 megabytes in order to qualify for YouTube. That's a big compression.
I know.
That has to be. You can't be putting a thing up like that. But you're going to lose quality, obviously, with that kind of thing. Is it going to be to where a 20 gigabyte, that's a huge file. You can't do that FTP or something. Or
Yeah.
how are we going to deal with pristine quality that's going to be able to go over the
I think-
internet? Or what do you understand what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
in parts.
Talk to me and inform me about what the reality is and where does the DVD come in?
Well, if you look at a lot of Alex Jones stuff like Terror Storm, there are some people who put it up in increments, and it's really good quality.
You went on to YouTube.
About like 25 parts, so you might have to watch it in parts. But I'd say the best thing to do would be to get the DVD, you know, and because that's the best quality there is. Because you can't beat that type of quality, you know, and it's going to be too much bandwidth, too many people watching it. Yeah,
to get over the
crisp,
internet.
Yeah, very crisp. It's very tough right now, but maybe, you know, pay a monthly fee. There are some websites I'm sure that can you know, they'll put it up there, but you know, I mean, like just the bandwidth that you're going to get, especially on a documentary like this. That
help me out again on something,
Yeah.
and please,
Sure.
this is the good book says the youth shall lead us. So you're going to have to lead me in this because you understand these things and everything. I look at a DVD and it says it's got 4.7 gigabytes.
Yep.
I look at an AVI file on my computer of a 1-hour film. It's 15 gigabytes.
Yeah.
You can't get a film on a DVD. You have to compress it to get it on a DVD. How do they get such good quality on a DVD when it's only got 4.7 gigabytes capacity, and you know that the file is 15 gigabytes? How does that happen? Or maybe you don't know.
I'm not sure of the technical aspects, but I
Okay.
know that a lot of companies who make DVDs are able to do that. I think because I think maybe like their DVDs they have like an hour or two, or you know, it really depends. I mean, you could put many hours on there. I think I'm not really sure. I could look into it and let you know. But
Let me know what you can
Sure.
for research for, because we're going digital here in
Of course.
public. Like we used to have a thing, VHS. Do you still have VHS in your life? Do you have any VHS?
I actually send VHSs out to as screeners to festivals because I can't make DVDs, so I send the VHS copies out.
You don't have a burner?
No.
You could if you could. If you had
Yes.
the burner, you could. I see. So you send a VHS. So, but that's going now.
Yeah.
And so why can't they use the DVD in the place of what the VHS did in the past?
I think they can. It's just a matter of if
You use
the
DVD
price.
footage that you get in order to do your editing and stuff? You get footage from DVD?
No, I shoot. No, actually, this whole documentary I'm looking to make majority of it just from
Your
what
own
I've shot.
footage,
Yes,
yeah.
correct.
What do you shoot in? Mini DV?
Mini DV, correct.
And
Yeah.
what camera?
A DVX100. It's a camera for the revolution, basically. So many people are making films, award-winning films, and it's getting out there.
A camera for the revolution, did you say?
Basically, yeah.
What does that mean?
It means like we now don't have to have like these big 16 millimeter, 35 millimeter, you know, cameras, you know, anymore. We can make it through video now. I think that's the most important thing for independent filmmakers. You can make a high quality thing like you just saw on the thing that was shot with the DVX, and it looks good.
That's a camera.
Yes, correct.
Okay. And is mini DV?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Does that have video input? Can you take video? No, input. Video and audio input, composite? Or
You mean
not?
from like a VHS?
Yeah, or from another source.
I believe there's a way, but I have not done that yet. So.
No, that's a basic camera, right? And then what do you edit in? Do you do Final Cut Pro?
I use Media 100.
You use a Media 100.
Yeah.
That's like Avid or one step
Basically,
below Avid.
yeah. I was brought up, you know, with college in it,
You
so
did that
I
in
got the
college.
program, and it was just like, you know, it's probably the easiest thing to do. So.
And you can do it. You can add it. You can edit it all on your computer. Then.
Yes.
That's very good, isn't it?
Yeah.
You
I
couldn't
love
do
it.
that in the past. You had to have a steam back, and you had
Exactly.
to do all this kind of thing. We used to have a thing. You know, you had these reel-to-reel things. You had to take a reel-to-reel. You take a little piece of paper, and where you're going to cue it from. You take the paper and you
splice
get it. No, you wouldn't splice it. You just stick it in there so you'd know where it was. So that when it gets to,
Okay.
you know, and now everything's done by a computer. Everything's computer programming and so forth.
Yep.
You like the computer editing?
I do. I think it's very stressful though, because you see it.
Why?
You see it over and over, and especially when you're doing a documentary.
Yeah.
You see a film over and over, and it gets so repetitive. So you kind of change it a little bit. The editing. You take out a couple clips, try to add a little something. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. So it's very stressful though. I mean, you know, if I had the money, I'd have an in-house editor or something, or get an editor.
What do you mean in-house editor?
Like, you know how like production.
A person?
Yeah, basically. Like,
Oh, you want staff?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Well,
I mean, you know, when you know.
Yeah, but don't you
bigger
want to
type
do
of
everything
production.
yourself so you're sure
Of course,
it's done right?
of course.
There's
But
part of you that's that way too,
that's
right?
the thing. My friend Chris had said, I asked him, I was like, you know, I need to do something with chroma key and Media 100.
Yeah,
which-
you can get a lot of effect.
I know. And he's like, why don't you just do it yourself, man? Because you know, if you're gonna keep on just
Well, you'll know it's
having
done
people,
right.
Exactly. Exactly.
No, that's right. There's something
You got to
to
do it
that.
yourself, and that's what he basically
If you
said.
were painting a painting and you're going to say, okay, I'll paint the blues, but I have somebody else paint the reds, you'd want to paint the reds too, wouldn't you?
Of course.
It seems to me it'd be better if you could have the complete control over the thing. Because you think an artist wants to do that. You don't want other people coming in. Although there is, I hear often film is collaborative.
Yep.
Maybe they're talking about the film business of big feature films, you know.
Yeah.
That's a big business thing. That's a different thing.
It's a lot of
Would
money
you
involved.
aspire to that? Would you like to be making a
think
movie for the independent film channel or something like that and have it get out? There are, you know, Sundance or other things, home box office.
If they are interested, I mean, I think the best thing is to make your film, get it out to the film festivals, and let it run its course. If
Are there
someone's
good? Are there many venues, good venues, enough venues for the expression of the human spirit in the multimedia, video, and film realm?
I think there are, but I also think there are a lot of filmmakers nowadays who aren't making that great of films. I know my films aren't that great, but I'm trying to work towards making them the best I can. You know.
Who's the greatest filmmaker within the realm that you're working with? There's some stars, you know, you got Spike Lee, he did the thing, and you got others. And who are the filmmakers? You said Scorsese, Taxi.
Yes.
You know, who are the people that? But that gets into the big time and everything like that.
Yeah.
But at the level of the amateur. Or the amateur.
Yeah, like the people who I'm around, I guess?
Yes, and the thing is, you get a guy out in Ames, Iowa or something, and he's got an idea and he knows how to put his chops together and everything. He may come up with a great film just sitting at his desk in a little quiet farmhouse in Ames.
Of course.
That's a very beautiful thought, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And he could load stuff off the internet that you could never do before.
I know.
So it's a very creative possibility, no? Is there a collection? Are you guys in touch, filmmakers around the world and so forth?
My friend Chris Garitano, he did a film called Horror Business. It's a documentary about independent horror filmmakers. He's someone who I talk to a lot. We're good friends, and he basically is doing that. His film is playing, like, let's say it's playing in Spain and Africa, and I think that's the most important thing.
Playing where in Spain?
And like
on a theater screen?
Yeah, film festivals, all that stuff. And
on the film festivals, are there enough of them?
Yeah.
For the talent, do you think there's a lot of people are wasting, like Van Gogh had his painting and nobody paid any attention because he was ahead of his time?
I think people just need to keep on working on their thing and just pushing and pushing. Some people become filmmakers for the wrong reasons because they think that because nothing's happened to them for a year or so or a couple months and they just give up. But if you have it in your head that you're meant to be a filmmaker and that you're going to make it, you will. Mm-hmm. I think it's all about positive attitude. Be able to get your films out there. Be able to have someone back your films, like a couple $100,000, because it is very easy to make an effective film on like $150,000, $300,000, compared to what we do, which is nothing. We work with no money. We're going broke. We need to make a living. I need to move out of my house.
What about if you? Back to that question I asked you hypothetically.
Sure.
Suppose you didn't have to worry about the house and everything. And you had the films you needed to do it, and you didn't have to think about how you have to make money from it.
And then I think it's. Do
you think that would be liberating, or would that?
It'd be too easy.
Does that business thing that introduces to where you're trying to get the contract, because that motivates a lot of human activity, human nature. You brought up
sure.
That idea that you're going to get that's a form of recognition. You made it a success. You got the big time. You know what I'm saying? Suppose you got the two. You got the chance of being in that. Positive feedback from the system, or you're just free to make it the way you want and you've got what you need and you can make the thing, and then if people like it, okay, and if they don't like it, that's okay, and you don't care. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I think the second one, quite honestly.
You do. You think it's better for art that way, right? Yeah, for creativity?
Yeah, because when you have a producer over your shoulder telling you what to do, and there's so much...
It's all about money.
Yeah, and that's the thing, yes, because there's so much money involved, and I think as a business person, filmmakers have to also be a business person as well. They have to understand...
You feel like you're a good business person?
In certain aspects, I do.
Okay.
But I'm always learning. So, I don't know everything, and I don't think I'll know everything for a long. I might never know everything. Not everything, but I might not know.
You don't think you're going to know everything?
No.
Stop the cameras. He doesn't know everything. I mean, okay, that kind of thing. But I mean, out of the things that you've gained a sense of joy or appreciation or pleasure in your life and so forth, how many of them have been things that represented business success in terms of your given art?
And what sense?
How much? What have been the sources of your greatest joy or pleasure in life? There are ladies and there are other things, But I'm just curious about where does the recognition from the film industry, let's say the business guys, does that rank and say we got it? or you've closed on a house, or you've gotten the CEO.
Well, I think what's more important is that is getting your film out there and having people see it, and then finally knowing that you worked on something for months or a year or two, and seeing the people's reaction. I mean, that's just the best feeling.
How do you see people's reaction? How do you
when
get
they
that?
come to you and say, you know, man, I
street.
really appreciate it. Yeah, or just like at a film festival or something
Yeah.
like that. Or
Have you gone to many film festivals?
I've gone to a couple.
Can you go to Sundance? Is that too big?
I haven't gotten there yet.
You haven't gotten to
But,
there.
I haven't really sent any of my latest work in there. A lot of my old work was horror
Have you
films.
submitted?
No.
You've not submitted any of the major
I'm
festivals.
not good enough yet.
They have a festival for horror films or a thing.
They have a lot
They could
of
have genres, or there should be more festivals.
There
don't
are.
you
There are
think?
so many, and then, you know, like Fright Night Film Festival in Kentucky. That's one that just had it. They just had it like a couple of days ago. That's in their second year. They just expanded so much from their first year, which is 2006.
Did they have
to
a
this
genre
year.
or a type
It's horror
of film?
films, fantasy,
Horror,
yeah,
fantasy, that kind of thing. So
and a lot of celebrities there and stuff. So
the
you know, it
youth
brings
is
the
really
fans in.
rapidly becoming multimedia, do you think? It used
Yeah.
to be everything. You know, the only thing you had, believe it or not, the only thing you had to communicate anything for a long time was like what they called a book.
Yeah.
You had to read, and you had to do it as linear. It's very linear.
Yeah.
And the multimedia is very multisensorial. It's coming all at once.
Sure.
And the youth is galloping toward multisensorial, multimedia perception, do you think? I think so.
Yeah.
So it's going. So we're going to need to have many venues for the expression of the human spirit in a multimedia context, many more than it seems to me we have. Can we use the internet to good advantage in order to be a venue for getting it out to people? The thing like YouTube, but how can you get them out to where they're in a really pristine form rather than a highly compressed form, which seems to be the demands of the media now?
You have to have your own system and your own you know, hard drive and a lot of space.
A
on
lot
there,
of memory.
of
huh?
course.
That's it.
And
a lot
you got to
of
be very
bandwidth.
savvy with knowing how to put it out there in a pristine condition.
Well, just think, there was no chance of having any, a couple years ago, there was no chance of having anything like a YouTube.
I know.
But it's coming out of the labs now.
Of course.
Do you take advantage? You were talking before about the threat of the media, but there's now coming out of the labs that they're going exponentially beyond Moore's Law.
Yeah.
They're talking about terabyte computers now.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's going. Do you think that there's going to be many capability, because it's doubling? It's going. It's coming along like this, and then it's going beyond hyperbolic. It's going out to exponential.
Yeah.
The capability. So the capability every year is so much more coming out of the labs and stuff. Do you think that's good, or do you think that's going to end up Terminator?
I think it's a positive. It's a negative.
Uh-huh.
You know, there's really two parts to it. You know, where it could be a good thing and it could be a bad thing. So
On the one hand, and on the other hand,
exactly.
it could be
There's always a good and bad to many things.
yin
so.
and a yang,
Yeah.
up and a down,
Yeah.
black and a white,
Left and right.
left and right, and all those kind of things. It's been like that talking in front of Cro-Magnon caves, I think.
Well, talking about left and right, I actually wanted to get your opinion on something.
Okay, we got to get it quick.
Okay.
Because we only got about a minute left. We got to talk fast. Now. It's New York City. Fast, 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 fast.
Left and right, you know, there's such
yeah.
a paradigm between
Yeah.
it. Do you believe that it's about the rich and the poor? And I just wanted to get your comment on that.
Yeah, I
guess.
think it's about
Yeah.
the rich and the poor, and economics basically is the main problem. But we don't have an economic system. That's my own thing.
Yeah, I think if people understand that, then I think we're better off.
We just got started. Thanks. Congratulations on the film. Good luck with the career.
Thank
and
you.
thanks a lot
I
for coming
appreciate
in
it.
from Glen
Thank you.
Clove. Really appreciate it. Your pleasure. That's Mr. Scott Goldberg, and he's a filmmaker. And then he's just talking about a situation. I think it probably affects the conscience of a whole lot of people. I think better than being a rock star would be a real filmmaker. Better than a rock star, right? Better than being a football champion, right? That's the thing. That's an ambition that is very much motivating the youth.
Yeah,
Your
different
fellow
things.
people. I mean, not just yourselves within the business or in the thing, but in general. That's the thing that's very, very important in emerging so in terms of the youth, don't you think?
Yeah, I agree.
Boy, it must be nice to be young and watching out over all that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on working.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot for coming. Great pleasure. Let this be the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Do you remember
Harold.
the end of the Casablanca movie? Did you ever see
I've
Casablanca?
seen it, yes.
You see, remember the
Yeah,
end?
he
He
says
says,
it.
Louis, this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Scott, this
Thank
is
you,
the beginning
Harold.
of a
Appreciate
beautiful